All right, so here we have a little knee hug. Just pulling that knee in towards your torso. Try to extend the opposite hip. Take that, 10 yards out, 10, 15 yards out. Nice and slow, nice and easy. Then turn around, walking it back. 10 yards, ankle pull. We talked about this, right? You want to be using that inside hand to grasp the ankle. The outside hand should be supporting your knee to keep it from dropping. Turn around here. I think we're about to start a 3-step and grab, right? So you'll see me here in a second come into frame, but we're bending down here, grabbing our foot. Keep that leg straight that you're stretching. Really feel that in your hamstring. If you're tight in your lower back, this is a good time to notice that and keep it for later on in the warm-up. Again, take that about 10 to 15 yards out. Turn around, coming back 10 to 15 yards. Looks like we've got a little quad pull action here. Just grabbing the top of that foot, reaching high with the opposite arm, pulling that heel into your glute, really feeling that across the front of the leg. Now we're going to face the same direction here because we have a inverted toe touch coming back. Again, 10 or 15 yards. Just give yourself a lot of space, a lot of time. Keeping that leg as straight as you can, reaching all the way to the ground, really getting those hamstrings moving. This is where the dynamic part of the warm-up starts to pick up the pace a little bit. Facing the same way here. Again, 10, 15 yards, straight leg march, right? Keep that leg straight as can be. Just swinging that leg all the way up to your hand, about shoulder height. Right here, we're splicing in a backwards A skip, right? Keeping that leg at 90 degrees, toes up, shin forward, nice and dynamic. Here, got a leg swing. I think I swing this one out, anywhere from 10 to 15 times, right? Really just fast and loose, right? Just getting that hip warm. Find a wall, maybe a fence post, I don't know. Somewhere you can really get this full range of motion, right? Swinging that all the way, feel the stretch in your glute and in your groin. Nice and dynamic. Right here, we're switching it up, right? Same thing as that straight leg march. We're kicking that foot as far back as we can, keeping our balance, getting it up, depends on how mobile you are, but for me, it's about shoulder height. Could be closer to hip height for you. Doesn't really matter, just as long as we're moving that leg as far as we can, right? So as far back as it'll go and as far forward as it'll go. We're trying not to come up on our tiptoes with that foot that's planted on the ground, right? Just really focusing on that swinging leg. Here, got a couple air squats, right? Get those hands out in front of you. You don't have to hit as much depth as I do, right? I'm pretty mobile in the squat department, but just going down as far as you can. Don't let your toe or your knees come over your toes, obviously. Right here, I've switched onto some pads. This is just a single leg raise, one leg bent. Try to keep that leg that we're stretching, as straight as possible. We're really trying to feel this part of the dynamic warm-up, like right where our quads attach to our pelvis, right? So oft neglected point in the body. Right here, hip extension, pretty easy, right? Just, you know what this looks like. You're an adult. But really squeezing those glutes at the top of that movement. I'm running it back to some of these straight leg raises, right? I think super important part of the body. Again, oft neglected. People think a lot about the lower half of their quad, not the upper half of their quad. And as a guy who's got problems with his hips and knees, got to pay attention to everything. Again, circling back to those hip extensions, you can put your hands down by your feet like you're going to do a crunch if you want here. I typically just keep them folded across my chest like a sit-up. Here I'm doing a hip switch, right? I got my knees bent at 90 degrees and I'm just rotating those hips over, right? Trying to keep my torso as straight up and down as possible. Obviously, you couldn't possibly keep it perfectly vertical. But here, same thing. This is a seated piriformis stretch, right? I'm now doing that hip switch, but at the bottom of every rep, I've got my chest, like my sternum, straight over top of my knee. I'm really stacking my body. If you're not feeling this, you can definitely pick up your back foot. This little hip series right here, right? Coming forward, coming back like that. Feel that in your hamstring, your glute. Try to keep your hips as square as possible, right? And when you're doing that forward motion, you're really thinking about forcing your crotch towards the ground at sort of a 45-degree angle, right? We're really feeling that in the groin and in the front part of our quad there, that knee that's on the ground. Right here, looks like we've got a little prone scorpion action, right? You got to bring that foot across your body up to your opposite hand, right? You're picking up your whole chest so you can really open up your body. A little low back action there. I like to swing this one out, 3-5 times each side, really until you feel comfortable. Don't want anything to feel achy or cold, right? Here we got a little cobra pose, a little child pose here, just moving our body, right? This full body stretch, trying to keep that nose, half an inch off the ground for this. Here you see me twisting that out. I'm in that child pose, that tabletop pose, and I'm sending my whole body underneath. I'm reaching as far as I can with my hands as I twist my torso, right? Just, again, getting that good rotation in. Playing tennis, running, basketball, it doesn't matter. We're all rotational athletes.